guys, welcome to another Mercury retrograde. Mercury stationing retrograde in the sky on Friday, April 21st, 2023, in a conjunction to Uranus, in mutual reception to Venus, and with the moon conjuncting both Mercury and Uranus. So we've got a very Mercury retrograde oriented weekend, you guys. Things not going according to plan, changes to schedules, miscommunication, communication breakdowns, technology not exactly operating properly. This is kind of what we're up against. This is what we're looking at. But honestly, I kind of like this Mercury retrograde energy more than I've liked Mercury retrograde energy in quite a while. I feel like a lot of solutions are going to be coming through over the duration of Mercury's retrograde period. And I think that a lot of problems and stuff that has sort of been holding us up or holding us back or keeping us from making a decision are going to be fixed in a positive way. So I do think there's a lot of good that is going to be coming with this Mercury retrograde energy. We've also got Chiron sort of wrapped up in our vibrations this weekend as well. So we've got to talk about that. Let's get into our reports, you guys. We're looking at the energy of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in this report today and seeing what the energy above might be meaning in terms of our experiences on the ground this weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, April 21st, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend where we are narrating the shift of the ages. We are looking at the astrology in the context of our unfolding cosmic blueprint that is navigating us into the age of Aquarius right now. We are in a very transitional time in that cosmic blueprint in terms of the shift of the ages, and on this channel we're looking at the astrology as it hits us on a day-to-day basis in terms of how that progress is happening, as above so below, the frequencies that are sort of hitting the planet right now, the impact that it's having on us, and how we as humanity, you know, very much represented by the sign of Aquarius, really play our role in this transitional process. So that being said, welcome to the weekend. This weekend in our transition into the age of Aquarius, we are talking about Mercury retrograde, Mercury stationing retrograde. I'm gonna tell you guys, I actually like this Mercury retrograde energy, and for me personally, you know, being a Gemini ascendant, that is not something that I typically you will hear coming out of my mouth. Generally, Mercury retrogrades are not my favorite time of the year, but actually, just because of the way that this Mercury retrograde energy is playing out, I feel like it's going to have some beneficial impacts on helping us to really like narrow down, decide, you know, who we are now, what we want going forward, get a much clearer idea of what really resonates with us on some deeper levels, and also bring some spontaneous solutions to problems or, you know, things that have kept us stuck or things that have held us back or things that have like just been out of alignment in some type of a way. Okay, we're talking about Mercury stationing retrograde in the conjunction to Uranus. Uranus, for all of his chaos and all of his, you know, discomfort and uncertainty that a lot of times can come with the Uranian energy, the shocks, surprises, the sudden upheavals that Uranus brings, the tower type of vibes, it always is for the purpose, ultimately, of putting things right. Uranus rules blessings in disguise. This is a silver lining planet. This is the great rectifier energy. So with Mercury, the mind, in the sign of Taurus also, this has to do with resources and money and potential, worth, self-worth, value, partnerships, what we're building, what we're creating. I feel like there's going to be some sudden awakenings or some sudden epiphanies or some sudden solutions that maybe just kind of like coming to us out of nowhere, or opening our eyes to something that changes our perspective in a way that allows us to, you know, see a different side where we can then like gain access to maybe a solution that we wouldn't have seen otherwise, changing our frame and therefore opening ourselves up to maybe different ways of making things move forward for ourselves that will ultimately be in a better way that is much more in alignment with the new beginnings that are trying to come into formation right now. You know, this Mercury retrograde following right on the heels of this double new moon in Aries, solar eclipse that we just had the 19th into the 20th, you know, really depending where in the world that you are, whether it was on the 19th or the 20th, but here on the 21st, Mercury stationing retrograde in the conjunction to Uranus. Uranus is also the ruler of what? You know, Uranus is the ruler of the sign of Aquarius, the modern ruler of the sign Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign very much related to the future, and right now, it is definitely the vibration that we are moving towards, the frequency that we are moving towards. And while Aquarius does have two rulers, right? Saturn, the ancient original ruler of Aquarius, and then Uranus, the modern ruler of Aquarius, I feel as though, you know, as we are transitioning into this age of Aquarius, the Uranian influence is the dominant influence in terms of the primary frequency and the way that this energy is playing out, because like I just said, Aquarius is very much a sign related to the future. Saturn is a planet that is related to the past. Uranus is a planet that is related to the future. The age of Aquarius is, you know, where we are being pulled towards at this point in time, because that is the next step, right? That is our next phase of conscious evolution, the Great Awakening. This incoming age, this incoming paradigm just happens to line up with the age of Aquarius, and this is the future that we are moving towards. So I'm looking at the planet Uranus right now as being very emblematic of that process, of that transition. Mercury, the mind, stationing retrograde in the conjunction to Uranus in the sign of Taurus, this awakening to the truth of value and potential within us that is really like sparking, right, these new beginnings, or maybe these revolutionary ideas, or just this like conscious awakening about who we really are, what we're really capable of, and what, you know, getting into alignment with our true purpose. And that is, as you know, I talk about narrating the shift of the ages in this transitional process, it really has so much to do with that, with us embracing like our unique frequency, our personal truth, our inherent talents and gifts and potential, like our authentic potential, and coming to a point where we are no longer molding ourselves into the boxes of society or the external matrix or anybody else, and we are rather instead turning our energy inwards and really cultivating and standing in the power of the uniqueness of our own personal identity and the divine image of the true potential for and the true purpose for our experience in this lifetime at this point in time. We are all playing a very significant role, you guys, and the more we can self-actualize, the more we can conquer our lower selves, the more we can align with our own authenticity and begin to really like make that bloom. I'm telling you, I'm so serious about this. I have seen it and I've experienced it personally. The more you can do that, the more amazed you will be. And I'm sure a lot of you already know this, with, you know, the miracles and the blessings and like the divinely oriented circumstances that just maybe sort of fall in your lap that, you know, create and just bring this so much greater sense of fulfillment. Like, universe wants to bless us in these times if we allow ourselves to live through the blessings of our own unique divine imprint. Okay, so we're being called into alignment with our higher selves. We are mentally being geared towards that right now throughout this Mercury retrograde process. So, you know, I want to kind of say that we also have to remember the Mercury retrograde is happening in a mutual reception with Venus and Mercury both being in each other's signs right now. Mercury retrograding in Taurus, Venus in the sign of Gemini right now. So a lot of this Mercury retrograde, a lot of what we're awakening to is very Venus oriented. Relationships, values, love, desire, what we want, who we really are, what we really want, what we really value, what we really prioritize. And I've been saying, you know, changing tastes, changing preferences as a result of this that are helping us to get more into alignment with that authentic expression and who universe is like calling and compelling us towards now. Remember, we also have the North Node in the sign of Taurus, also ruled by Venus. Lots of Taurus energy right now. The sun has also moved into the sign of Taurus. So there is a major energetic focus right now on resources, potential, value, and what we're going to cultivate, what we're going to create, what we're going to build, and how that is going to provide a sense of beauty or comfort or security or stability or abundance somehow, like in our physical 3D reality. So we are headed towards Taurus season. Mercury's retrograding in Taurus, mutual reception of Venus, ruler of Taurus, lots of Venetian energy, lots of relationship changes and adjustments, partnership-based changes and adjustments. I cannot talk today also. I'm really personally kind of feeling this Mercury retrograde energy, so I'm sorry if I'm getting a little tripped up over my words. But I do ultimately, like I said, like the way that this Mercury retrograde is coming together for us at this point in time. Also, I find it very interesting. I want to start by saying the position of the sun on Friday, the Sabian symbol of the sun at 2 degrees of Taurus. Sun has just entered the sign of Taurus, while Mercury stations retrograde in the sign of Taurus in a conjunction to Uranus, that Sabian symbol is an electrical storm, illuminates the heavens and the forest. And this Sabian symbol honestly like sums up the entire thing to me. Very, very much the nature of this Mercury retrograde energy as it's expressing. An electrical storm, right? Uranus is the ruler of lightning, of electricity, and most certainly of electrical storms. With Mercury there, that is the mind, the awakening also, right? The illumination of the heavens. Uranus is also associated with the skies and the heavens and the ether, and in the sign of Taurus, this would be the ground in the forest. So we're getting maybe some type of an electrified, illuminating understanding of what is on the ground or what's really going on, what's really been going on. This is major revelations coming through as well. Again, in regards to like physical, tangible things. It could be money, it could be resources, it could be like partnership and relationship dynamics, it could be like blocks, like I said, like blocks or hindrances to growth, or in the context of what we're growing and creating, like partnerships and things that we're building are also always major themes when we've got this Taurus energy going on. But with the conjunction to Uranus, the great rectifier, the one who puts things right, and also, you know, retrograde energy in and of itself has a tendency of making adjustments. This is adjustments to plans, projects, partnerships, you know, creative pursuits, financial endeavors, all of that type of stuff. For the better, I do believe. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, what kind of things come up in this energy. But like the Sabian symbol of the day says, it's likely to be quite electrifying and it's likely to be quite illuminating. So I do think that we're getting solutions, and I do think this energy is ultimately writing things and making things better. Mercury and Venus in this mutual reception. Venus is what we want. It's what we desire. It's our relationships. It's how we relate with others. It's, you know, what we enjoy. It's our preferences. It's our tastes. And then we have, you know, Mercury. This is the mind. This is the messenger planet. This is communication. This is also partnerships. And this is also interpersonal dynamics and relating with others, conversations, communication, what we're learning, what we're talking about. Short trips has to do with siblings. But generally, you know, this is kind of like our mind on our money on one hand, with Mercury and Venus in the mutual reception. Relationships really occupying a lot of maybe like our mental space right now as well. But Gemini, this is a very versatile and changeable energy. We want options. We want alternatives. Like we want to kind of have some things that we're juggling back and forth. We are not really making solid commitments about things, which is good during retrograde energy, especially with the conjunction to Uranus. And remember, we're in eclipse season right now. We are in eclipse window right now. We've got the sun approaching its yearly conjunction with the North Node, highly fated, highly destined, divinely aligned, divine timing just raining down upon us right now. Things are being realigned in ways that are going to be much more compatible with who we're becoming now, and these fresh starts that we are working towards, that this energy is actually like forcing us towards at this point in time. So that is kind of how I feel like this Mercury retrograde energy is basically going to be affecting us generally over the course of this next several months. Now, specifically in the energy on Friday, like I said, this weekend is very much emphasizing the Mercury retrograde vibe, and that is because the moon, which is a trigger for energy, the moon is our emotions and our feelings and what's going on inside of us. When we have the moon, you know, making aspects with planets or in signs that are relevant in terms of other aspects, that is like a trigger for energy. And we already have the Mercury energy playing out and going on, but the moon is going to be actually in a conjunction to both Mercury and Uranus in the sign of Taurus on the 21st, on Friday, as Mercury stations retrograde. And then on Saturday, the moon will move into the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, right? Mercury retrograde, which is again like triggering the Mercury retrograde energy. And then on Sunday, the moon will move into the conjunction with Venus in the sign of Gemini, who's in the mutual reception, right, with Mercury. And this is, again, really like activating the nature of the Mercury retrograde and Taurus energy. So there are likely to be, you know, some shocks and surprises, some changes to plans, disruptions, things not going as expected or anticipated. You know, we need to be more adaptable. We need to sort of be able to go with the flow. Like I said, you know, communication breakdowns, everything that Mercury retrograde is notorious for. Not a great time to make big purchases, not a great time to sign deals and contracts, not a great time to invest in like expensive technology and stuff like that. And there could just be, with the Uranus dimension of things, some very wild information, this electrified mental energy. There is likely to be just an extreme sense of, like, I said in my video for the other day for the new moon, like almost like static or electricity or just like a frazzled nature to the energy that is just charged, like hypercharged electricity, like especially like mentalized energy that is just sort of in the air because of the Mercury-Uranus conjunction. Unbelievable news, information, turns of events also likely, especially again along the Taurus themes. Land, agriculture, food, resources, supplies, supply chains, you know, business, projects, work relationships, work dynamics, financial stuff generally, like across the board, things to do with worth, things to do with value, things to do with currency, what we value, potential for things and what can be grown and what can be developed and what can be built, and all of these partnership dynamics that may be associated with that type of stuff. And again, the sun. Today, you know, 2 degrees of the sign of Taurus, an electrical storm illuminates the heavens and the earth. These revelations and illuminating things just like sort of shocking us into awareness about things, perhaps, you know, what's been going on or in the shadows on the earth as well. But the sun is about to conjunct the North Node, and that is the destiny point. This is a very, like I said, divinely timed, divinely oriented, divinely aligned, divinely assisted period of time that we have going on right now. So we want to go with the flow of things, you guys. Opportunities, new opportunities are trying to come to us, but we also, like I've been talking about as well, we are still in this 9-day window of the Saturn South Node trine in water signs. Karmic release, endings, endings and moving on are also very fundamental to our ability to clear space energetically, to make room to actually be able to receive and step into the changes that are underway right now and the new beginnings, the rebirth energy that is also trying to come to us. So highly fated times we are in, you guys. Major revelations, shocking news, information, conversations. Don't be surprised if it happens to you. If your mind is just suddenly either like blown by something or just illuminated, electrified, all that. 9 days of karmic release, karmic cleansing, karmic endings. Yes. Also remember, we do have Pluto right now at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius, with the sun in these very first initial degrees of the sign of Taurus. That is setting up a big square in the sky between Pluto, first 0 degrees. At 0 degree of any sign is a very powerful planet. Pluto's very powerfully, well, Pluto rules power in all of its forms. So when we talk about Pluto being powerful, Pluto is like very powerful right now. This purification, regeneration, again, like transformation, death and rebirth energy, this evolution energy, this phoenix rising energy, super prominent right now. And in this big square with the sun, right, that is this total like overhaul that's sort of going on in the process, that is sort of going on in the collective simultaneously as we are in this process of going through this rebirth and transitioning and going through this karmic cleansing and breaking these cycles and releasing ourselves from our own personal past paradigm so that we can begin these new legacies and lay these new groundworks for the future in alignment with these Aquarian frequencies and archetypes that are coming through right now. It's big business, you guys. Like I keep saying, you know, we are playing a very significant role in our ability to navigate and maneuver this energy right now and really pave the way for what's to come in our transition generally into the age of Aquarius. The Pluto energy, the sun square Pluto, is very much a part of that, and this is also this very primal energy. It can be definitely sparking up like power struggles and, you know, clashes of wills and clashes of egos and issues with like dominance and control and all like vying for power, vying for truth, vying for getting to the core of things, like really, really like uncovering like deep issues, deep psychological issues and stuff like that that have been perhaps stealing our power or holding us back in one type of way or another. Conquering demons energy also. This is what this is. Conquering our lower selves. Pluto moving through the sign of Aquarius, you guys, is all about helping humanity to regain a sense of internalized self-empowerment after Pluto has been transiting the sign of Aquarius or of Capricorn, which really empowered authority, okay, and like external power sources. Now we're talking about the sign of Aquarius. This is a sign of the individual, sign of the collective of humanity. Pluto, power in all of its forms. These deeply and again, it plays perfectly into the south node right now being in the sign of Scorpio in the trine with Saturn. We're releasing past psychological and subconscious attachments to things, people, places, and things that had essentially been stealing our power and blocking our growth in alignment with our transition into the age of Aquarius right now and this North Node in Taurus energy. So this massive time of transition, right? Endings, beginnings, and also huge transformations underway with the square to Pluto playing out as well. Breakdowns and breakthroughs regarding power dynamics, letting go of the past to discover or rediscover authentic power and purpose. So that's sort of how energy is coming together for us for Friday, moving into, and for the day that Mercury is stationing retrograde with the moon right there as well, moving into Saturday. I do feel like this is probably the lower vibe day of the weekend, and that's going to be because the moon in early Gemini will form a square to Saturn. Normally when the moon is transiting Gemini, this is a very kind of like lively and upbeat and like, you know, frolicky and like frisky and just kind of fresh energy. Like we have a tendency to just be very kind of communicative and social and like wanting to be out and about and just kind of like lighthearted and stuff like that. But coming into the square with Saturn and Pisces, this could definitely be just like a bit of a downer. You know, Saturn controls and restricts and limits. We may feel like we can't express our feelings, you know, with a mutual reception going on between Mercury and Venus. This is wanting to talk about how we feel, and this is wanting to talk about how we love and wanting to talk about what we want. Also with Mercury retrograde, we still maybe want to talk about it, but like in the context of how we are reconsidering it and maybe other options or alternatives or choices that we are considering now. But with the square to Saturn, there could just be like, we could feel emotionally restricted, or we could feel held back, or, you know, sort of just like withdrawn, like a need to be more hermit mode and stay to ourselves, or just kind of like for some reason unable to communicate how we feel or what's truly on our mind or what's truly in our heart. So there could just kind of be more of like a heavy heart or something weighing heavy on us, feeling like a little overburdened. People could also seem kind of overly critical or overly judgmental of us or of what we're saying or of how we're feeling, and kind of express that maybe in a way that hurts our feelings or doesn't make us feel so good. So that could also be something coming through with the square to Saturn. Issues with authority, responsibility, obligations, or a need to be more just generally serious or mature about something. This also could be likely, and or it could also just have things to do with like work generally, like a boss or a career or something that is getting in the way of like what we really want to be thinking about, or what we really want to be doing, or who we really want to be talking to, or, you know, what we really want to be having a conversation about. So we may just feel like held back or stifled a bit, or just also, again, this is more of that like isolated, lonely energy, because this upbeat, lively, communicative, like flirtatious, spontaneous, like more flighty Venus Mercury combination energy is coming up against Saturn, right? Duty, order, responsibility, control, limitation, the need to be serious, the need to be mature, like the need to, you know, be very focused and concentrated and disciplined about everything. So it could just be kind of like a downer in terms of that vibe. But other than that, you know, I do again kind of like this energy that we have going on. Mercury and Venus together, like there is nothing wrong with that. Mercury and Uranus together, this is a very helpful energy. And aside from, you know, of course, the sun squaring Pluto that we've got going on, we really don't have anything that's indicating major issues in regards to this Mercury retrograde energy. It is, again, a very Mercury retrograde oriented day, the moon being in the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury, who just stationed retrograde. I mean, Mercury has just stationed retrograde on Saturday and Sunday to the point where he hasn't even moved off his stationing degree yet. So it's just very strong. You know, when a planet stations in the sky, that also really amplifies the energy of that planet. So lots of just Mercury retrograde potential for also, again, communication breakdowns are very likely with the square to Saturn, or not, again, like not being able to get a call through, like not being able to get a message through, either like literally or metaphorically, like not being able to like get through to someone, you know what I mean? So restrictions, hold back, all Mercury retrograde. There could just be some communication issues that are making things a bit difficult for us in the energy for Saturday. But I also want to say, we have Venus, who is ruling so much of the energy right now, being the ruler of the sign of Taurus. We've got all this planets and all this energy, and Mercury retrograde with Uranus, like in the sign of Taurus. Venus is really a very prominent planet right now. 14 degrees of Gemini in the energy on Saturday. Another one of my favorite Sabian symbols. This is actually the ascendant of one of my friends. Hey, Dana, what's up? Bridging physical space and social distinctions. Two men communicate telepathically is the Sabian symbol of 14 Gemini. And that is obviously talking about telepathy, which is a huge theme when we're talking about Mercury and Uranus together. The mercurial energy in a combination with the Uranian energy, this is the vibe that opens the door totally for telepathy and telepathic communication, because Mercury is obviously the mind and communication. Uranus, this is the ether. This is things happening at instantaneous lightning speed. This is synapses literally in the brain, to me, are really ruled by Uranus. And Mercury and Uranus together throughout this Mercury retrograde period, in the context of Mercury going retrograde, which is also an internalized energy and an internalization of the mental energy. Pay attention to what's going on in your mind, you guys. Pay attention to, you know, people that are popping into your mind. Pay attention to just if you find yourself, yeah, you know, like thinking about something, or even just like if there's a particular or a peculiar thought that you find yourself thinking, pay special attention, because we really are very much primed in the energetic field for the next couple of weeks, but also a lot this weekend, for a stronger tendency towards the telepathic inclinations or abilities just kind of spontaneously happening. And we also have Venus ruling the position of Mercury and Uranus in their conjunction with the retrograde energy at the specific degree, bridging physical space and social distinctions. Two men communicate telepathically. So wanted to throw that out there as well. So, you know, overall in the energy on Saturday, we don't want to be too hard on ourselves. We don't want to take things too seriously. We may be taking like ourselves and others in life and our relationships and everything that's going on, maybe just like a little bit too seriously or too critically, or being too judgmental about things in the energy on Saturday. So we don't want to really like internalize that. It's just Saturn, maybe raining on the parade a little bit, but this energy will pass. The moon moves quickly. And speaking of the moon moving quickly, moving into Sunday, let's talk about the energy for Sunday now. Now, Sunday, there is kind of a shift in the vibe. Even though we do still have the moon transiting the sign of Gemini, we have some Chiron energy that is very prominent, that is starting on Sunday, and actually is going to be sort of carrying us through the rest of this month. If you guys watched my original April overview, I was talking about how this month of April was like very, very much characterized in a lot of ways by the Chiron energy. We began this month with Chiron and the sun coming into an exact conjunction. We are ending the month with Mars, who is ruling the lunar cycle that we're in right now, the Aries lunar cycle, coming into a square with Chiron in Aries, which is the sign ruled by Mars. So sun conjunct Chiron to start the month, Mars square Chiron to finish the month, and on Sunday and to start this upcoming week, we have the sun coming into an exact alignment with the Chiron point, which is the original place in the sky where Chiron was discovered and holds, you know, all the same frequencies and archetypes and everything as Chiron himself. So the sun coming to align with the Chiron point is putting a highlight again on these Chiron themes, and then moving through the rest of this week, Mars is going to be pushing that Chiron button as well through the square. So enter Chiron energy really coming back in some big ways. This is triggering this hero's journey type of stuff that we may have been dealing with more so at the beginning of the month. And on Sunday, Sunday, we do have the exact alignment of the sun and the Chiron point, like I said. We also have the moon in Gemini forming a conjunction to Venus in the energy on Saturday. This I feel like is going to put an emphasis in terms of what we're thinking about and what we're talking about on what we love, what we want, value, maybe some old wounds, you know, where we've been hurt in the past, how, you know, things that have happened to us in the past have impacted our relationship to ourselves or our own internalized sense of like personal worth or self-love or personal value. All that type of stuff right now could be something that we are, you know, realizing that we need to heal within ourselves in order to be able to move forward in this new direction and like really make the most of it. So themes of finances, themes of value, themes of like worth, and also healing, wounding, healing, value, worth. Strong emphasis, and also in terms of our heart, okay, what we need to do to heal our heart, like first and foremost, with this very, very strong Venusian influence going on, relationships, sense of security, or just these also very financially oriented topics and issues. Chiron has a lot to do with finances, markets, economies, you know, value, worth. The Chiron point is the Sabian symbol of that degree is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Chiron is very much associated with worth and value because at the end of the day, on an energetic level, the hero's journey, which is represented through the Chiron archetype, is truly our, you know, journey. It's true alchemy, right? It's turning lead into gold in terms of the value that the Chiron energy provides in regards to the ultimate sense of like internalized fulfillment that it gives us and self-mastery over our experiences and stuff like that. Like the real gold of this life and of this experience represented through the Chiron archetype and what this energy does for us and brings to us. So ultimately a very heart-centered healing day that we may have going on Sunday, but we are sort of back in this more lively energy. I do think the sun is moving out of the exact square, you know, this very tight square with Pluto, while we do have the Chiron point energy being activated, which is always, you know, also Chiron's like a more like vulnerable and like raw type of energy and stuff like that. This just upbeat Gemini moon in the conjunction to Venus, even though Mercury's retrograde, like I do feel like we're probably going to be feeling just like a bit more optimistic and lively and open to things in the energy on Sunday. It could though be a day where we find ourselves kind of like more internalizing, okay, and like really like kind of getting deep in terms of the self-healing that may be represented or the self-love that may be coming through, very supported in terms of our like inward reflection on what we need to help ourselves heal and what we need to help ourselves grow and blossom with all this Taurus energy as well. So searching for and rediscovering our own inner light, I think, may sort of be where we're geared towards, and maybe some themes that are coming through in the energy on Sunday. We do have the sun, as I said, in the conjunction to the Chiron point, 4 degrees of Taurus, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and the earth, 4 degrees of Scorpio, always in a polar opposition to the sun. A youth carries a lighted candle in a devotional ritual. So there could, again, themes of also like the inner child could very much be coming up in this energy as well. Chiron has a lot to do with inner child healing, a wounded inner child, and how that impacts our experiences and forces us to go through this hero's journey and all of that. I talk about the hero's journey all the time. If you guys have been with me for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, stick around because you definitely will. This is a very strong and prominent theme moving us forward into the age of Aquarius. Has a lot to do with the process of self-actualization as well, overcoming our lower selves and, like I said, alchemizing and transmuting states of victimhood and our lower ego instincts and urges and stuff into an alignment with our higher self, and ultimately these states of self-mastery and being much more able to consciously create our experience going forward instead of being like subconsciously controlled by unhealed traumas that are existing within. So that's basically what I have to say, you guys, for the energy for this weekend. As it's playing out Friday, this Mercury retrograde day, the electrical storm illuminates the heavens and the earth. Like, expect the unexpected, right? Be prepared to make adjustments, and about to head through a period where universe, I feel like, is just going to show us the truth about things, is going to give us the solutions, is going to open our eyes, is going to make our decision-making processes a lot easier, a lot better, a lot more positive. And it's all about, remember, this push to move us forward. We are in the end of an era. We are in the birth of a new age, this very transitional period of time right now, and we are about to get the mentalized upgrades. We're about to get upgraded on our algorithms are about to get upgraded to match these new frequencies, the Uranian frequencies that we need to be recalibrated with right now as we are in this transitional process into the age of Aquarius. So that's what I'm going to say today, you guys. That's what I got to say for the energy. Friday, Mercury retrograde with the moon there. Saturday, the square to Saturn. We also have the moon forming a trine to Pluto on Saturday. Saturday could be kind of a powerful and intense day with both the sun in a square to Pluto and the moon in a trine to Pluto to start the day. Really deep, really powerful, a lot of revelations, getting to the core of things, getting to the root of things, but then also feeling like held back or withdrawn or unable to communicate. We also might really feel like nobody understands us. Like we can't relate to anybody, like we're sort of at it alone, like up against it alone in the energy on Saturday. But moving into Sunday, you know, these inner child issues perhaps being triggered, these wounds being triggered, but in the context of this awakening, of this awareness, of this revelation in regards to what we need to do to heal, to regain the value and the power within us so that we can move forward in alignment with our purpose, with our truth, activate destiny, and get on the track for being able to experience the life that God, Spirit, Universe has truly always had in store for us. So that's what I gotta say. Let's grab a synchronicity card now. Let's see if there is a specific piece of advice or guidance that can benefit us on top of what we already know about this energy. It says, seek inner strength. Give me this water that I thirst not. John 4:15. You are thirsting for values in your life. You are not using the wisdom and guidance of your subconscious when you don't think right, feel right, and act right. The mass mind impinges on your mind, and the result is confusion and failure. All wisdom, knowledge, and power is within your mind. You know the difference. You know the values you need to uphold. Turn away from the mass mind and go within to what you know is right. This is like a magical moment for me right now, you guys, because I'm gonna tell you, I've been doing this channel for over 2 years now. We've been doing these cards for about that long alongside these reports. I have never gotten this card before. I have never pulled this card. It has never came out. I have never read this card. I didn't know this card was in this deck. This card is, to me, exactly where we're at right now, exactly what is playing out right now, talking about values, right? It's all about these changing values and these changing preferences and getting in alignment with our authentic truth and what's really important to us and the wisdom and the guidance and the subconscious. Like, it is addressing all of that. I'm going to read it one more time. You are thirsting for values in your life. Mercury, Uranus together in the sign of Taurus and the mutual reception with Venus. So much about values and value. You are not using the wisdom and guidance of your subconscious when you don't think right, feel right, and act right. The mass mind impinges on your mind, and the result is confusion and failure. This is breaking through that mind control. This is this conscious. Uranus is also the rebel. It's the revolution. It's this insanely freedom-inspiring energy. And it's a great awakening, right? This is a mental breakthrough. Anyways, all wisdom, knowledge, and power is within your mind. Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. You know the difference between the mass mind and the power inherent within, right? You know the values you need to uphold in order to work with this energy properly moving forward. Turn away from the mass mind and go within to know what is right. Mercury retrograde. It's just perfect. So this is a very powerful message to me right now. I always find the synchronicity cards to be very powerful, but just this one, the way that it's hitting me right now, the fact that I've never gotten it before with this specific energy following on the heels of this really powerful double new moon Aries solar eclipse yesterday, I feel like this message is very powerful and significant. So there it is if you guys want to read it for yourselves. And anyways, that being said, that's what I have to say. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. I would really appreciate it. It's totally free. It literally takes like 1 second. Just hit that subscription bell right down below if you guys want to see more content from me. Leave me comments as well. I absolutely love your comments. I am so grateful for all of you. I appreciate you so much. I really, honestly, I value knowing, you know, if you guys are having experiences that are mirroring or in alignment with the energy as I'm perceiving it as it's coming through right now. So if you are, or, you know, if it feels like it's resonating with you, please let me know in the comment section below. Like, I definitely, as I said, find tremendous value personally in that. So thank you guys again, and share it with your friends if you think that they would be interested in this type of content as well. And come back with me, you guys. We've got more energy, more big energy coming up with us this upcoming week. I'll probably be here on Monday. What is Monday? The 24th. Oh, on Monday, we have the exact Sun North Node conjunction. So highly fated times, highly destined times. Seek inner strength, you guys. This is our time to finally be able to break ourselves free from the mass mind of the previous matrix and discover our personal power. So that's what I'm going to say. I'll see you guys next time. Have a beautiful weekend. And until then, bye guys.